On a calm summer morning in the year 793 AD, the Viking Age is born. It begins with a raid on the Christian monastery at Lindisfarne, on the northeast coast of England. The attack is swift, savage, unexpected. The pagan raiders know full well that monasteries hold great riches, great, unprotected riches. The news spreads quickly throughout Europe. A new prayer rises in Christian churches. Lord, protect us from the fury of the men of the north. It is a brutal beginning for a remarkable age of adventure and discovery. Over the next 300 years, warriors, farmers, and explorers from Scandinavia venture out to the limits of the world they know and beyond. In the end, the Vikings reshaped the world. The Vikings fascinate us, but some beliefs are simply not true. The Vikings never feared fog. On the contrary, they could take advantage of it when raiding. Nor did the Vikings ever wear those horned helmets, made familiar to us by Wagner's operas, Hollywood, and comic strips. The men from the north weren't all fearsome seafaring warriors either. During the Middle Ages, most people were farmers. The Vikings were no different. At the time of the raid on Lindisfarne, they were setting out to find new riches, fame, and especially new land. In earlier times, the people living in today's Norway, Sweden, and Denmark were mostly known as traders. In the 8th century, this changed rapidly, thanks to a great technological advantage: Viking ships. Viking ships made the Viking Age. Viking warriors and raiders sailed aboard revolutionary longships whose dragon-shaped prowheads inspired terror. Viking traders, explorers, and settlers used a different kind of ship called the Nar. It was made deeper and wider to carry goods, livestock, and people across the ocean. All Viking ships had hulls made of thin, overlapping planks, nailed together and sealed with tar, producing strong yet light and flexible vessels. They were steered by a side rudder hanging on a steer board, the origin of the nautical term starboard. The ships were fast and symmetrical and could reverse their course readily. The longships had a shallow draft, meaning they could sail far up rivers and could be beached easily. Shipbuilding required a variety of skills. Large square sails were woven from linen or thin wool, later waterproofed with fat. On longships in particular, oars were used for precise maneuvers and in windless weather. Shipbuilding was an art, and master shipwrights commanded great respect. Their craftsmanship was legendary. So much so that tales of huge longships carrying 200 warriors were long thought to be the exaggerations of storytellers. Then, in 1997, a longship measuring 120 feet and capable of carrying 180 men was unearthed in Roskilde, Denmark. The giant longships had indeed existed. These ships give Vikings a strong superiority at sea, and thousands of them head out in search of wealth, land, and glory. In 2 centuries, the Norse, Danes, and Swedes, or Rus as they are known in the East, are everywhere in Europe. They take over large areas of England and Scotland as well as Ireland, where they found Dublin. In France, the Northmen take over a region of France that becomes known as Normandy. Viking raids reach as far south as the Mediterranean. To the east, the Rus use rivers to reach the Middle East, creating a 1,000-mile trading network and founding their own kingdom, Russia. Success makes the Vikings even more ambitious. Large fleets mount major attacks. The city of Paris must pay an enormous tribute to be spared. Soon after, a great Viking army conquers York and much of eastern England. In the east, the Vikings attack Constantinople, today's Istanbul, with fleets of hundreds of ships. Twice, the great city resists, but the Byzantine emperors are so impressed that they hire Viking warriors as an imperial guard. Europeans saw the Vikings as heathens assaulting Christianity, but it went beyond that. It was a collision between cultures with different traditions and religions. Giants, dwarfs, beasts, and gods fill the crowded Viking pantheon. Warriors who die sword in hand gain a place in Valhalla, a paradise offering an afterlife of fights and feasts. Here, Viking gods are mortal. They can be tricked and lose battles. Still, wisdom reigns supreme among the gods. Odin, chief deity and a god of war, exchanges an eye for knowledge. Thor rules over weather and sends thunder and lightning. Frey gives fertility to nature, men, and their lands. These gods are still present in our daily lives. Odin's day is Wednesday, Thor's day is Thursday, and Frey's day is Friday. South and east of their homelands, Vikings come largely as raiders and warriors. Out west, they become mainly settlers and explorers. They have the North Atlantic to themselves. After settling several small islands, they find a huge land where only a handful of Irish monks has ever set foot. There, the Vikings build a new world. Legend has it that a man suffered an extremely harsh winter on this island and that he vengefully named it Iceland. Yet, Vikings from Norway and the British Isles came in droves to this unspoiled country, a country sculpted by volcanic forces and immense glaciers. Iceland is a place of otherworldly beauty, an island of mountains, lava plains, sandy beaches, and deep valleys. It is a supernatural land, a land of the gods. In Iceland, the Vikings, farmers above all, find what they treasure most: abundant, fertile land. By coming to Iceland, many Vikings are also fleeing the rise of self-proclaimed kings in Norway. In a new country, settlers can stake out property using the custom of landnam, or land taking. It allows any free man to claim a lot as large as he can walk around in a day. In a few decades, all of Iceland is settled in this manner.
I am Leif the Lucky, son of Eric. I was born on a farm in Iceland. There, I learned the skills and customs of my people. I learned to praise virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice, and to honor warriors, poets, and artists. Art is ever present in our lives. It enhances everything from our most prized possessions to the most common objects. My family and my clan have always been my pride. Like every Viking, I have strived to excel in diverse skills: warfare, farming, craftsmanship, seafaring. Like every Viking, I hope to gain the most desirable thing: a favorable reputation, for only fame is undying for those who win it. I hoped our poets, the Skalds, would tell our story with well-chosen words, generation after generation.
Vikings put as much value in the telling of stories and the reciting of poetry as in the skills of warriors. And although they had an alphabet called runes, history and tradition relied essentially on the spoken word. Fortunately, 2 centuries after Leif, learned Icelanders wrote down these tales, including Leif's own story. Together they are known as the Icelandic sagas. The word saga simply means what was said. The sagas contain a blend of history, poems, myth, and religious fables. They tell us how the Vikings lived and what mattered most in their lives. The thousands of beautifully handwritten pages of the saga manuscripts are a cornerstone of Viking heritage. The sagas are among the most important documents of the Middle Ages. They are kept in a secure vault and are under the permanent responsibility of the saga keepers. One story of interest is recounted in 2 sagas. A major turning point came when a few neighboring chieftains, each ruling over several families, gathered in a Viking assembly called a thing. This assembly acted as a local tribunal, resolved disputes, and if needed, decided punishment. In the year 930 AD, 36 chieftains, representing all such assemblies in Iceland, came together at a site called Thingvellir. There, they created the All Thing, a national assembly that defined the laws of the land. Every summer, when it met, a law speaker would recite the code from memory, adding any new laws or rulings. It remains the longest-running national assembly in the world.
Many came freely to Iceland. Eric, my father, had little choice. He was banished from Norway for a killing he couldn't defend. My father was a quick-tempered man who had all the qualities of a leader. Feared or respected, he was Eric the Red.
In Iceland, Eric marries into a rich family descended from Irish kings and gains in reputation. But as the sagas tell us, Eric cannot escape his fiery nature. A dispute with a neighbor turns violent. People on both sides are killed. Eric is brought before the assembly.
My father had as many supporters as opponents, but law prevailed. Eric the Red was banished from Iceland for 3 years.